Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, man. You're our first author. That's pretty
That's
cool.
exciting.
I never, we never expected to ever do anything like this at all. Um, are you ready? We can jump right into this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. All right, everybody, all viewers, as you're joining, this is Books Were Bros. We are interviewing Jared M. Bentley, author of Robots Please. It is the first book in a trilogy, I believe. Robots Please is a collection of short stories. Stories are about robots and the future, but these robots are not just robots. They're conscious and they have wants, and Jared finds a way of bringing these robots to life and telling these beautiful, funny, and very compelling stories. The future always comes. Jared, thank you for allowing Books with Bros to interview you today.
So,
All
Yeah.
right.
first things first, man. What was the inspiration behind this?
Um, it's a good question. Essentially, so I'm a instructor, like writing instructor in college,
Okay.
and a lot of my students are using AI regularly,
Yep.
Right.
and so it's kind of a hot button issue in academia right now. And I've done a couple videos on my TikTok account about AI and just use and all that stuff, how students are using it, etc. And it's kind of the consensus in academia that we have to look the other way. We have to, we kind of are changing our assignments a little bit to maybe thwart the use of it. But
Yeah.
if we get like a fully AI paper, we can't, like, we're not just giving them a zero. We're not being AI police. Which the first couple semesters when this was happening in like 2022, right? 21, 22, I don't remember. Time's weird.
Yeah.
But like when that was happening, I was definitely like AI police. And then maybe like 2 semesters later, I was like, this is so much time out of my
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the consensus in academia. It's just so much time to like try to prove these things. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got the ideas, because it's obviously a very hot button issue. But I think the first story actually that I came up with was the sports one, the Apple
Okay.
Day
I like that one.
bar sports one. I know you guys said that you liked that one a lot. And I was thinking, I had this idea because my dad is a big Michigan State fan,
Okay.
and his best friend is a Michigan fan. And there was this Michigan State game where they were playing in a bowl game, and they were playing against, I think it was Alabama, the Crimson Tide, right?
Yep.
They're just getting absolutely destroyed. And they're watching the game. My dad's like, all right, turn that off. And then his best friend Jim is like, no, I got it on my phone still. Check it out. I'm like,
Right.
turn it off. And Jim has this like button up shirt with the ones that can like break open.
Yeah.
Right. And so yeah. So he's just like, well, I'm a fan. And he just rips open his shirt, and it was an Alabama Crimson Tide shirt.
Okay.
And my dad got so mad. And like this is I think it was New Year's Eve. So they had like this whole big dinner with their best friends, and it ruined the night. My dad was about to fight his best friend over this. And I was like, this is hilarious to me, because I'm like, this is like tribalism, like sports tribalism in America. It was funny because I saw you were wearing like an Ohio State shirt when you were and like hat when you were reviewing like in your review video. And it is just kind of interesting how you're born into it. Like you're like a State
Big
fan,
time.
or you're a Michigan fan, or you're a Ohio State fan, or wherever you're from, right?
Yep.
And so it got me thinking about that. So that's and I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting, because I was thinking about AI. I was thinking about what a future of AI could look like, but also I was reading iRobot at the time as well.
Okay.
Right. And that's very retro, like robots, because it was written in I don't know, the 50s or something, 60s. I don't remember. But because of that, all these different influences, like, oh, I could use robots to talk about like AI, and I could make it kind of retro sci-fi fun and
That's pretty
funny.
cool.
So that's kind of how I came up with the idea. Was with that first story, then it just kind of went off from there.
Okay. To kind of piggyback off that, what was, because I think it's really cool and really unique of the short stories of how there's a lot of them and they all kind of intertwine a little bit. What was
Hmm.
the idea of doing a short story format rather than just kind of writing a novel?
Good question. So, I wrote that first one, and I was like, okay, well, I kind of like this as a like as an idea of like, hey, maybe
Yeah.
I can just write short stories that have to do with robots because I hadn't written short stories in a long time since college because I'd been working on a novel
Okay.
and writing so many drafts of that novel and still haven't like finished it because it's it's a lot. And I think that moving back to short stories when I got like a couple short stories published in like 2023, I
Hmm.
was like, oh, I like this. And so when I made that first one, and I was kind of sending it out to try to get published, and getting a couple of rejections, I was like, what if I just write more and then put them together? And they originally they weren't like linked. They were all
Okay.
just separate. And
Yeah.
then when I was editing or when I was thinking more about them, I was like, oh, I can kind of plug them in together and just make them into the same world.
Yeah, because originally I thought they was all just separate, and I'm reading, I'm like, oh, it's a callback, it's a callback, and I like the way they intertwine like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was I wouldn't say it was like the last thing I did. I had some like originally the whole collection was going to be all different worlds. And then eventually it turned into the same world. And I know that's weird because you're thinking like, well, what about the first story,
Right.
right? Technically, it is the same world, and in the second book, it's going to explore that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I
So,
like that.
yeah.
I like that. You talked a little bit about it, or you mentioned it, but like, what's your writing routine? Like, did you have like time set aside to write, or do you just any chance you get, you're writing?
So as like a writing instructor, you pretty much have to set time aside because there's so much time that you have, like with grading and
Yep.
student work, and I also work at like a magazine, right? Where I read. I'm like a short slush reader, right? So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
read short stories and we decide if we like them and then publish them, whatever.
That's pretty
And
cool.
so, yeah, it's called the MacGuffin. It's through one of the colleges that I work at, so it's cool.
Okay.
So, what was I saying? Sorry, what was the
It
question?
was
I lost.
like it was really about your writing routine.
Yes,
Just
yes, my fault,
yep.
my fault. So because of that, I set aside 15 minutes every day. I do like a timer that I write for 15 minutes. That's a lot of times it'll move me to write more.
Okay.
But I pretty much have to do timed writing. That's when I'm drafting, because drafting, I'm sure a lot of writers agree with this, is really hard because you have to like pull it out of you, right? And just put something on the page. So it's, I
Yeah.
think, the most difficult part of it because you're like, oh, this isn't working, or oh, this is I don't know what's wrong, but it's not really doing what I want it to
Going.
do. With editing, though, I can just sit there and edit for hours, right? I can just kind of lose track of time when I'm editing or redrafting. So I think when drafting, though, I have to do that 15-minute timer. That's me.
I like that.
Um,
Would you like how long would you say it takes from like your first draft until like final edits are made as far as like robots please at least? Like the
Uh,
time it took you to write this book.
it took me a year to write the whole book.
Okay.
The first story that I wrote was that programming one. Um, and the first draft was okay. But when I got some feedback on it, my wife is one of my like editors. She's really good at giving feedback, or she'll tell me like, "Oh, I hate this." She's brutal, which is great, right? And so, an old professor of mine, he's actually the person who wrote the foreword in my book.
Okay.
And we kind of got back in touch, and we've been working together on like sending each other work and giving each other feedback. So he was really helpful for this story specifically because he was like, oh, I want to hear more about the father, right? I want to hear more about this like family dynamic. So when I wrote the first draft, I think since it was the first one that I wrote, it must have been in like December of 23. I probably finished it in like, I don't know, a week. And then I edited a lot over the next year, right? So it's really hard to say. But I mean, I feel like each of these stories has to be like 20 hours plus, right? For each one.
That's not bad though, like at all. When I think it's a whole story, you're
yeah. I mean, they say writing is rewriting, so that's what it is, right? I think the framing, like the general outline of it, for my first draft was pretty strong, but some of the other stories, the outline was not strong, or the first draft was like, oh, you need to really rethink this, right?
Okay. Well, you kind of just gave a little tip as far as that you setting 15 minutes a day aside to just writing. But for any aspiring authors or indie authors, do you have any advice, especially since you're a writing coach and this is what you do? Do you have any just quick little tips? Me myself, I've never wrote anything, but I have a whole bunch of ideas that I want to get on paper. I just don't know how to necessarily start it or how to go about that. So do you have any just quick tips that you would offer to, for anyone who wants to do that?
I mean, I think the best way to do it is just, you have to do it every day. It's like training for a sport, right? Or building your muscles, right? You have to practice, you have to train.
Right.
That's why I have to do that 15-minute timer, right?
Right.
Which is kind of the same advice that I already gave, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good advice though.
Yeah.
And I think that the more you write, the better you get. And that's one thing that I don't necessarily like. When people talk about writers, they'll talk about like this idea of talent.
Right.
I do not think, like, I know that I wasn't a good writer when I was in college, right? I might have thought back then that I was.
Right.
What I think made me a good writer, I hope I'm a good writer now. And what I think like makes me think that is because of how much time I've spent.
Yeah.
And how much I've failed. That's the number one thing is failure. So maybe it's I guess a piece of advice is sit down, plot it out, write something short, have somebody read it, and don't care if they if they completely butcher it, right? Just remember, like, it's okay. You have to write the bad stuff to write the good stuff. That's my advice.
I like that because for some reason in my brain, when I think of writing something, I just have to start from the starting point. So you just saying that, like, hey, I started from a story in the middle of the book, that makes me feel good as far as that, like, you don't have to start your book or novel or short story from the very beginning.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing as well. Is that's part of the reason why, like, my novel has never been published. I mean, the whole thing's written, and
Okay.
it does need professional editing. I think I might just eventually hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Rather than look for traditional publishing routes. We'll see. I don't know. But when I was writing that book, I think I ended up realizing after I'd written the whole thing, this must have been in like 2017. So I've been working on it for 5 years at that point. I realized, I think this is when I was just starting dating my now wife, my current wife. She goes, I'm a little confused, like, what's going on, because there's so much information that I have to take in at the very beginning, and then we're just leaving the planet, because it's kind of like a space opera, right?
Right.
I was like, oh, shit.
Right.
This is the second book, or this is the third book, right?
Yeah.
and apparently that happened to. Have you guys ever read Ender's Game? I can't remember
Actually,
the
I have it
author.
right by me. Actually, I can't
Um,
remember the author's name. I have it somewhere. Oh, Orrin Scott Card.
yeah, Orson Scott Card. Yeah.
Orson.
So, um, anyway, he apparently wrote the second book, Speaker for the Dead,
Hmm.
first, and then realized that it was the second book, right? And then so
Mm,
he started. Then he wrote Ender's Game, and of course,
Huh.
I feel like that one was a big commercial success.
for sure.
More
Yeah.
so, than
Yeah.
Dead. They both, I think, they
Yeah.
both won Hugo or something, but yeah. So finding your starting point is so hard, right?
Yeah.
You might think you have it, and then you're like, oh man, I got to start all over again, right?
Right.
So I think another piece of advice as well that I've heard from I don't know where is start before you're ready, right?
Okay.
Just do it,
Just
right?
start.
Yeah, just start
Pen and paper.
because pen and paper because you
Yeah.
learn, you fail, you learn from those failures,
Yeah.
you build on it, right?
I like it.
Cool.
Um, you talked a little bit about your drafts and like, did you have any stories that were you wrote originally and they just didn't make the final cut?
Hmm.
That are
Oh yeah.
probably ready for the second book, maybe? I guess.
Uh, so good. Yeah. Some of them I'm like, okay, it's not going in at all. Like, there was one, so I live in Ypsilanti. I'm like, maybe 40 minutes from Detroit, but I really like Detroit a lot. And, so there was this one, story where this woman makes like in basketball where you can make like that $1 million shot, like the half
Yeah.
court shot.
Sure.
So the story was like her, like Detroit's kind of more underground than it is now. It's like I think a lot of the city is like built underground in this story, and she like shoots herself with these like nanobites or something, so that she can make like this $1 million shot. Right? So like the nanobites like take over her whole body or something. And my wife read it. She's like, "What are you? This is stupid, right? Like they would just know that, because her arm, like she has to cut off her arm or something." And my wife was like, "They would just know that she used this, right? And they wouldn't give her because her arm's gone." And I was like,
Right.
"Shit."
Right.
Right.
Out of there.
For that one, I was like, "Yeah, that's stupid. It's gone." There's another one that I do like is called What is the Light? And it's about there's like an engineer, the captain, and a scientist that are going toward this light in a spacecraft, right? And their ship has like this integrated AI, and they're kind of thinking about what this light that they're going toward is, and they're kind of in this debate the whole time. Turns out that the light is like some sort of wormhole, and it affects like the reality, or something. I don't remember. I deleted that one. But I realized that it will fit in the second book. I think it might be the last story of the second book. I don't want to give away any spoilers. But I'm changing it a lot, and it does have to do with like like another reality or another dimension or something like that.
Yeah, I like that premise because before you said it was like a wormhole or a black hole. I'm like, that sounds like something that like I don't know, a story about traveling to the afterlife almost. Just like
Mm.
two people not realizing they're probably dead or something like that, and then going into the light. I don't know,
Mhm.
but do you have a favorite story in Robots Please?
Um, I'm not really sure. I think that the basis for the book, because I did say that like programming was the first
Yep.
story, which it was.
Mhm.
It's not my favorite, but I think that the real basis for the book was the second story, Promoted. When I
Okay.
wrote that, it was like, okay, this could be like a whole world,
Yeah.
right? And it kind of sets up like the framing for the other stories that come later, right? You don't really
Yeah.
even know that it's the same world
Yep.
Until like the fourth story where you see Shears again, or you
Yep.
see like, you know, the red phone and you're like,
Yeah.
Yep.
that was weird. So I think that one, especially because I was reading Catch 22. Have you guys read that book before?
I haven't.
It's
Nope.
a classic.
It is a classic. I've never read it.
Well, it's wild because, I mean, you think of a classic and you don't think it's going to be like South Park. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like it feels like you're watching South Park when you're reading this book.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, same.
I love
Honestly,
South Park.
it's so funny. So it was a big inspiration for this book.
Okay.
My wife was actually listening to it at the time, and we were painting upstairs, and I was like listening along, and I was like, this book is hilarious. I gotta listen to this myself, right? So it was a big influence, especially on Promoted, because everybody's such an idiot, or a lot of characters are idiots.
Yeah.
It's like the failure of command, right? And the failure of this trickle down effect of like, oh, everybody's failing in their own certain way that creates this chaos, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think that one is near to like the soul of the book, maybe. But I think the other one is, there's two more. Retreat, the one that you guys were discussing a little bit.
I love Retreat, man. I think that's my favorite.
It's so scary. I don't know. Something about Retreat is
scary because I think that one's the funniest. I think
it is funny. It's just, I don't know. For me, it's like the thought of the robot trying to harm us. It just, I don't know. I don't know. It felt real, and it didn't feel like scary, like a horror scary, like a monster or anything like that. It felt like something that could really happen. So it was extra scary for me.
Yeah, that's fair. So I like that one. I think I commented on your video that's based on a true story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know, weird, right? So my mom passed away in actually about a year ago. It was 14th of August, 2024, right? And in 2022, I think it was, she went on this yoga retreat with a couple of her friends, and the host was kind of wacko, right? This wasn't in the wasn't in the story, but one of the lines, because I interviewed my mom about this because I was like, oh, this is a hilarious story. I could kind of turn it in. It was funny, as you guys had commented about this, like it could be a horror movie. That was my first thought, is like, what if there's like these like old ladies that are at like this yoga retreat, and one of them is like crazy and tries to kill them all, and they have to, if they have to survive. That's a hilarious horror movie premise. And so that was my first thought. And then I was like, oh, I'm writing this robots book. This could be really funny if I have like a yoga robot, right?
Yep.
So I interviewed my mom, and one of the best lines was, this woman goes, one of the women flushes the toilet at 12 o'clock at night, at like midnight. And this woman opens her door and goes, "Don't flush the fucking toilet." And it's like, crazy. What? Yeah. It was something wrong. There was like something wrong with the pipes or something, and you couldn't flush the toilet.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. But the stuff about like you're living in the past, Diane, and like and stuff about like the nieces and the ratatouille and the woman that couldn't eat vegetables with skin.
Yeah, you're going to eat it and you're going to like it.
And they like, it was funny because this woman, like, she had said, "Hey, I can't eat vegetables with skin." Yep. And then
we're making ratatouille. Ratatouille.
What you can't eat. And so it was pretty funny, and I was like, that's just the most unchill thing ever. I gotta have a robot with like a chillometer or something. Yeah. And, so that one's near and dear to my heart because, my mom was my mom, right? And that was a really good story. And it's kind of the last one as well is also pretty much like the
a face like that.
Yep. No, that one. Nah, a face like that is the adventure one, which I do love. That's right. Probably is my favorite one. But the last one is
on the beach.
Skylar Surfer.
Yeah. Stories, and the future always comes. One I was going through a lot when I wrote this book.
Yeah.
Because when I had started it, it was when my mom was starting chemotherapy. She started chemotherapy in October of 23, right? So there's actually a lot of cancer stuff in this book. If you might have noticed, like Skylar with his crumbling runaway
They
rust.
mentioned his rust. Yeah.
Right.
Supposed to be like a cancer metaphor, right?
Right.
And so there's I think like the idea of water for robots, like in fishing, was like
Yeah.
kind of a little bit of that as well. So there's a lot of that. I think that's where the heart or a lot of the emotional core of the book comes
Yeah.
from. Is that, and so yeah, it's funny in Retreat as well. With that one of my friends who is also one of my good friends who gives me great feedback, she had suggested, shout out to Abigail. I don't think she's watching, but she had suggested that Cheryl in that story, and that was my mom's name, be going through something. So I took the character of my dad, and and he thought this was funny. I killed my dad in this story, right? So my dad had died.
Yeah.
And she's like getting over like his loss,
Right.
to give her something, to really have to heal over.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I think that was an interesting thing about that one as well, for the emotional core, because it changes Cheryl at the end of the story.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I hope this robot was like experienced these things, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it means to be alive.
Right.
So yeah. And then I know you said Face Like That. I kind of knew when I wrote that one that that would be a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah, that was dope, man.
And that one, I mean, I feel like it could be like a book like on its own.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's kind of Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Big time.
And I love Stand By Me, man. One of my favorite movies ever.
Great movie.
Yeah.
And I looked up The Body, which is what Stand By Me is based on, right?
Yep.
And I looked at the first line, and I read the whole like first page, and the first page I was like, this is not very good. Like I didn't really like the first page of the book, but I liked the first line, and it was something about like I was 7 or 8 years old when I first saw a dead body.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna just take this a little bit and change it 7 or 8 cycles when we first heard the myth of Roberta, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then leads on this adventure. So originally this story was not going to be dark. It was going to be like these kids on an adventure finding like what they thought was the first robot, but it was actually like the inventor of robots. Mm-hmm. It was going to be this kid. It was only going to be one kid, like one character.
Yeah.
That was in the like the Huangshan Mountains in China. I think and so I changed it. I was like, oh, I want to put it in Colorado so it can be the same cabin.
Yeah.
Right. That one, I guess at one point, because I was reading this genre book as well when I was writing that one, I was on the myth chapter, and I was like, oh, this story is actually kind of a myth about like how this robot became like a storyteller.
Yeah.
Oh, what if it's really bad? What if he had to do something bad to become a storyteller, right? Because it is a little bit about gatekeeping, and I had that idea before, but it was just going to be like this pleasant, like we find this and cool. But then it turned into something much more sinister.
Yeah, it definitely got dark.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking when I finished it, I kind of messed me up. I actually had like a nightmare that night, and I like lost a lot of sleep. Oh man, that was really hard to write. That was really dark. Yeah. And so what I was thinking though, and where I put it there is you've kind of got this this idea of what the book is, the first like 8 stories, and it's kind of lighthearted, maybe a little high key with like how ridiculous it is, because it's absurdist, right? That's what it is.
Yep.
It's absurd fiction. And then you get to this one, and I wanted it to surprise you. I wanted it to be like, whoa, shit.
It did that.
Yeah,
Big
because
time.
you wouldn't expect it based on what you read before,
No.
right? So it's kind of the odd child of odd children in this book, I think. So I know it's kind of a cop out to say that I have like 3, 4 favorites, but
Not,
it's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
okay.
What was some authors or even just books that kind of inspired you just growing up that made you want to become a writer?
Oh, that's a great question. So I know in the author I referenced 1984, and I referenced Fahrenheit 451 and Brave New World. I loved dystopian books when I was a kid, or when I was younger. When I was really young, when I was maybe in like first and second grade, I was a bad reader. I was like a low level reader. I remember, I think it was first grade. We had like this poster on the wall that was all the like all the books that kids read and stars next to their name.
Yeah.
And it was the order of how many books they'd read. And my name was on the bottom of the list because I was not a strong reader, and therefore I didn't like it because I'm one of those people. If I'm not good at it, I don't like it.
Right. How most people are.
And so, anyway, I've grown up a little bit since then, hopefully. But my aunt came over and she started teaching me, like helping me to read. She was tutoring. And so we read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach and the BFG, like literally all of Roald Dahl's classic catalog. We read the whole thing. And that I bonded with my aunt really well. And it really just, I resonated with the character of Charlie Bucket because that was the first one we read was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And it was like as a third grader, I think I was in third grade when this happened. I was like, yeah, I want something, like my life is pretty great, but I want something more, right? I want to discover more. And so it kind of got me into reading more. I mean, I wouldn't say that I became like a big reader until like after college, right? And but in high school, I'm not gonna lie, I did some Spark Notes.
Yep, I definitely spent time in Spark Notes because I'm not reading that book that you want me to read.
Yeah. However, there was a lot of them that I really liked, and two of them that really grabbed me were Fahrenheit 451 and The Martian Chronicles. And so you asked me like authors that really inspired me to be a writer and also like to make a collection of short stories. I mean, have you read The Martian Chronicles? It's phenomenal. It's literally the same format of like all these short stories have to do with Mars and they're all interconnected. And people that are already on Mars, they're like a metaphor for Native Americans, right? And so it's a great book. Really good book.
I added it to my my computer right over here. It's like, okay, I got Catch 22, Fahrenheit 451, Martian Chronicles.
I actually have Fahrenheit
451.
51. I actually have that upstairs, and I just haven't read it yet. So I'm gonna have to add that because it's a shorter book too. So I'm gonna have to move that up. Yeah.
And Martian Chronicles is pretty short too. I think it's maybe like 250 pages.
Nice.
There is one of the short stories. It's so good. It's called The Third Expedition. Just look out for that one, or just read that one as like a sample, and you're like, oh, okay. It's great. It's awesome. It's funny. It's poignant. It's it's great. So I would say favorite authors from growing up were probably Roald Dahl and Ray Bradbury. Right. I read a lot of Ray Bradbury's short stories after reading that. I've also read Something Wicked This Way Comes, which that book is really hard to read. Like the language is wild, but maybe like 100 words, or not 100 words, sorry, 100 pages in, you're like, I'm starting to understand what he means when he says this, right? It almost teaches you how to read like his lyrical style. Like it's really, really beautiful, like how it's written. So yeah, those two authors definitely.
Nice. Um, Let me see. We're towards the end of this. What do you, for people that haven't read your book but will after this interview, what do you hope readers take away from Robots Please?
Um, if you're going through something, that there will be a brighter day, right? There'll like, the sun will come out tomorrow, right? I think that even if there is like some dark stuff in this book, or I'm being critical of like society, or like human flaws or whatever, ultimately, I think the idea is that there's hope, right? And it's about people coming together and believing that there's hope, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I hope.
Yeah.
That's what I hope people get.
No, I
Like,
get that. I mean, especially after the last story.
laugh. I'm sorry, I missed that.
I was saying, yeah, I get that. After the last story, you go through all the other stories, but the last story kind of wraps everything up, and you get what you want people to get out of that book. I think,
Yeah.
That there is a light at the end, or it always gets better.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's some tough topics in the stories, and people die, and all that stuff, but I think the idea is clear that, like, hopefully, it'll be nice at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Um, I I've mentioned it, but this is this is the first book in a trilogy. Can you talk a little bit about your upcoming work?
Yeah, I've written, I want to say, six of the stories for the second book. This book was about 40,000 words, the first one. The second one, I want to be 50 or 60. I want each one to get just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Not too much longer, because I don't want to. I think that it was a sweet spot where I was at, right, of like the word count, page count. It was like, okay, it's not too long, right? Yeah. You get what you need to get. And so I want it to be a little longer, a few more stories. I guess I'll talk a bit about a couple of them. I want to be a little critical of CEOs, and so I have the CEO of Argento Industries, the company that's in the book.
Yep.
I think it's going to start, and the story is called Skin, and it starts with like this CEO that's doing basically a TED Talk, right? Or like essentially showcasing this new product of a robot that has skin, and it's overly sexualized, because I don't like the sex bot story at all. I know there was Companion this year, that movie that was pretty good. I
just watched Companion. Yeah,
it was good.
That was good. Yeah,
actually, I saw that on the homie review. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty solid, but I don't love that story, or that story type.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I want to be critical of that, and I want to be critical of CEOs. So this robot with like skin comes out, and you get a little bit of their perspective, and eventually they just rip their skin off in front of the entire audience, right? Because it's not who they are, right? And of course, this is like why my robots don't have skin even like 20,000 years into the future in fishing, right?
Yeah.
They're still like these,
metal robot,
metal beings, right? They're a little different. They probably have like some sort of alloy that protects them or whatever, but yeah, the idea of like, hey, this is how skin failed. This is why this isn't it, right? There's another one. This one's really weird, but I like it. It's called Thaw, and it's way in the future, around the time of fishing.
Okay.
And it's these robots that are that have like procured these frozen human specimens from years and years ago that are frozen in cryogenics, right? And they gather together to have like a party, essentially, to watch the reactions of these humans when they come out of cryo freeze and just see robots. And it's a horror. It's a horror,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know why we throw cabbage at them, but we have cabbage and we're just throwing it at them while they wake up. And every time like one of these humans wake up from cryo freeze, they like die of like heart attack, panic, whatever.
Right.
And so that's what they get this enjoyment out of, which is horrifying, right?
Sick, yeah.
And so because it's fucked up. So so that one's pretty fun. But I have this character. His name is Ed in caps, and he you know how all the robots speak in capitals.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his character, when he starts speaking, it's not in capitalization, and he's described by the main by the robot as like he's really old, like he's got these weird like inner like lights. Essentially, he's a human wearing cardboard, right? And he's an undercover. It's not like cardboard, but you know what I'm saying. He's like an undercover robot wearing tin, right? And he's like an undercover human posing as a robot to try to. There's one of the people in cryo freeze that's like very important, right? And so they're trying to get this person out. So there's going to be a whole like subplot in the second part of the main plot, I'd say, actually, of the second and third book. That's way in the future, where humans are not just fish. Humans are like also there's this underground movement of humans that are trying to,
because fishing is scary. So
beat back the robots. And they're like, the robots are just like, you're insignificant. Like, we don't care about you. Right. Like, what is your resistance? You're not doing shit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a plot there. So Ed is like a human resistance member or whatever, right? And so that one kind of ends. So that's basically two of the stories that I have.
Nice.
One is gonna be in the first book. That's not is it's called Man's Best Friend, but man is in italics because the main character is a woman, and it's about robot dogs. Like, what if there's this in this future robotics, like essentially you can make a robot dog that will live forever, right? It looks like a dog. It doesn't have to eat. It doesn't have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't have to walk, right?
I would like that dog.
But it's a dog, right? You get all the good benefits of a dog, but you don't get the negative ones.
Right.
And so the idea is that then news sources or Argento Industries controlled news sources are like having all this what's the word? Negative publicity. I can't think of the word right now. Sorry.
Right.
Negative publicity around dogs, right? Real dogs. So like, oh, dogs bite you.
Right.
So dogs get passed out, and then everybody has a robot dog. The main character meets like a real dog in her shed and is gonna like kill it because she thinks it's like vermin or varmint or whatever. But then it's just a dog.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, it's just a sweet dog.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was like, oh, what kind of story is this? I was like, it's a romance story, right? But like, you know, like platonic love between a woman and a dog, right? So I took that out of the first book, and I'm gonna include it in the second.
Yeah, I like that story. Honestly, all three of the ones you just shared, they sound real good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So
okay,
cool.
Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers that we didn't cover today?
No, just if you have read, thanks for reading. If you're interested in reading, thanks for tuning in. And if you do read, I really hope you enjoy it.
Yep. Okay. And before we go, can you just, outside of TikTok, because they all know they can connect with you via TikTok, but do you have like an Instagram or anything that you want to shout out?
I hate social media.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're on TikTok.
And I made my TikTok in April. But
okay, so new.
I'm fresh on TikTok.
I mean, it's right around the time we made Books with Bros. Yeah. I think ours was March or something like that. So
that's cool. So yeah, I don't have any of that. I'm good on that. I have like a website. I have it's just called jaredmbentley.com. You can read all of my published short stories on there.
Okay.
So
There you go, viewers. JaredMBentley.com. You can read some of his work there. All of his short stories, published short stories on there.
I think there's 8 right now on there. I don't know if I put my newest short story that I published on there yet. I don't remember.
Okay.
But
I'll have to go check those out.
if you do check out any of those, I recommend The Last Queensland. And that's a dog story as well. And that one's really, really sweet. It was actually going to be included in Robots Please, but once I decided that they were the same world, I was like, okay, this is clearly a different world, because that one is like dogs become really intelligent and basically join humanity, and then
Okay. It's like that Rick and Morty episode.
It's like Rick and Morty. It's like that Rick and Morty episode, but not like, oh, they're going to take us over.
Yeah, take over. Yeah.
There's like this. There's like an idea that that could happen, right? They're like talking about that, but really they're just dogs. They're sweet, right? So
yeah.
So it's just it's kind of a love letter to dogs, and then also to Isaac Asimov. If you've ever read his short story, The Last Question, he was the writer of I, Robot, and that was a big inspiration.
Yeah,
and that book is hilarious and awesome.
I've obviously seen.
I didn't even know it was a book.
Oh, the movie's like it's nothing. It's
nothing like it.
It's not even. So they take one of the stories and they change it completely. Because this is like a big AI or whatever that takes over all the robots. That happens in space in the book. It's like on a space station. There's like 2 humans on the space station, right? So
yeah, it's nothing like the movie.
Oh yeah, completely different feel. They have like the scientist or whatever from the book, but the book is great. It's really good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to add that to my.
You gave us a few books that we need to add to our TBR.
Yeah,
some good ones.
All right, Hunter, you got any other questions or anything? I think that's it.
Nope, I think that's it, man. Thank you for doing this. This was super fun, super dope.
Yeah, man. You are our first author we interviewed.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. I really loved watching your video of the review. Just thanks for everything. It's been great.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Everybody go get and read this book. If I didn't like the book, I would say that, and I do like the book a lot. I really enjoyed this book, and think that. And I like the fact that it's a quick, short, sweet read. Like, it's nothing too crazy. Like, most people, pretty much anybody can read this book and enjoy it. It's not like some books intimidate people with it being too long or too, you know what I mean? This is not one of those books at all. Short and sweet, all type of different stories. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this book to anybody.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was talking about, the sweet spot of like
exactly.
It's perfect.
Yep, it's perfect.
So the second one is just maybe a little longer,
which is good, because honestly, I could have used a couple more stories in this too. Yeah, so like, because it really was a short and sweet, and if it was 50, 100 extra pages, that would still be short and sweet for me.
Yeah.
So. All right. Thank you for joining us, man, and we're looking forward to more of your work.
Yes, thanks so much. All right, you guys have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I think I can probably just. Oh, there we go. We did it, y'all.
First interview in the books.
First interview in the books. We got I'm sure there's still people in here. We got another one coming up on Tuesday. We are interviewing. I'll bring up the book here. The author of Nightmare Arcanus. She's going to have me correct her on her pronunciation, but Shami Stovall. We are interviewing her on Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So y'all can join the live for that. And yeah, we got our first interview down.
Yeah, that was fun, man.
It was. Cool. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll probably have many more coming up as authors continue to send us books. We'll interview them, and this was a lot better than I expected it to go. I mean, it wasn't hard. I was nervous, but like as soon as it started, I was good.
It's cool just having a conversation, and it's cool to get
Yep.
some of that insight from how he was,
Jared M.
that
Bentley's a good
perspective
looking
he was
guy.
reading. Yeah,
He's like a Pierce Brown, good looking guy. Like,
good
okay,
looking
author.
author.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, he can blow up.
yeah, yeah. That's a fact.
Especially like he was talking about his actual book that he has completed, and it kind
Yeah,
of gave me like
space opera
what
vibes.
yeah,
Yeah,
space out,
sci-fi.
Red Rising vibes. I'm like, all right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a thing that says our live will end. Oh, it detected inactivity, so which is crazy because we're clearly talking. I have to do like a capture or a are you a human thing. Got it out the way.
Hmm.
We're good. But yeah, thank y'all for joining, and we'll be live again on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
We got some. We need to. We made an Instagram. We haven't. We made an
Well,
Instagram. We'll make a video and a TikTok
yeah.
for it. But we made an Instagram. Follow us. It's Books with Bros and an underscore after it.
Yep.
Same picture that is used for TikTok. I was trying to figure out how to add it to our TikTok, the link, but I couldn't. So hopefully,
Mm,
Hunter, you can figure that out.
yeah, I'll
But
look at it.
thank y'all for joining and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
I don't even know how to end this live. Okay, Tyler. Yeah. Uh, don't leave your don't leave your two viewers hanging. We out.